friends, and welcome to my channel if you're new, or welcome back if you're back. If you are new, hi, my name is Rabbit and my pronouns are they, them, and thank you so much for clicking on my video today. So I feel like I haven't filmed in freaking forever, because my last video, though it was only 2 weeks ago, I think I actually like filmed it about 4 weeks ago. A lot's been going on, so that's what this video is going to be about. I figured I'd just do like a little get ready with me sort of style thing while I chat about all the new things that are happening in my life. I feel like 2024 is really a season of transition and change for like so many people, and just I have a lot of feelings. I always tend to have a lot of feelings, but in this moment it's like a lot more than usual, so I figured if you are down to listen to that. Brought some makeup, so I'll be keeping myself busy while we chat. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of catch up on what's been going on with my life and what's been new and why I've been gone and what I've been up to and all of that. So if that sounds good, let's get into it. Okay, so basically, I have been a barista since I was 14. So that is over 12 years now, and that whole time hasn't been in my current job. But my current job, I've been there for the past 5 years, and I've been there through the changes of 3 different sets of management and lots of different staff and things changing and people coming and going, and things have not been going well there, honestly. Long story short, at my workplace, a lot of things have been dramatic. I probably shouldn't get into details or whatever since I'm still working there, but it's just been feeling like a sinking ship for a long time, and I've just been there for so long, and I'm like, I'm 26, like, do I really want to be here for my whole life? Like, where is this really going? Like, as much as I'm friends with some of my coworkers and some of them are like absolutely amazing people that I will miss so much and I'm like really sad to leave behind, there's just like so much tension and drama and just not super good wages, honestly. It's just been super stressful ever since this feeling of wanting to leave has come up. Like, every interaction that is like unpleasant with a customer, or like every time I have to go clean the bathrooms and they're like extra gross, or like every time I have to like fish through the garbage to like get the stuff out that is like meant to be in the recycling or like whatever, all these things I'm just like, oh my god, I can't wait to leave. Like, every time I skip the litter, or like there's like children screaming or like playing their video games really loud, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so good to go. So yeah, I've been really wanting to quit my job, which is the cool thing, but also really scary. I was really reluctant to do it for a long time, or like reluctant to give myself the space to even think about it for a long time, because I was all like, so many people are looking for work right now, and like, where would I even go? And like, I've just been a barista for so long that like, do I just want to go be a barista for someone else, like somewhere else, like until what, I'm like 30, and it's like, which is fine, no shame in that, but I've just been really wanting to try something new and see what's out there. And in terms of like my dream of like what I would really love to do, is like kind of working in the theater, like not like being on stage or anything, because I don't think I'm that kind of person, but being like backstage and helping with like costumes or like set design or like whatever. But that feels like a little intimidating, and I don't know if I'm like all ready for that, and like whatever, that could like maybe be something down the line to look into. But the other thing, the other like dream that is just brings me so much joy when I think about it and makes me so excited and also scared, and I will talk about all the fears because there are so many freaking fears that are like, I don't even know if I should be doing this, if I'm being completely delusional, but I want to like quit my job and just like make all my little creations and like sell them at markets and sell them online, and like make all my little like dolls and my plushies and my little like fashion things and like all of this stuff. And it feels like really embarrassing to say that and to like admit it out loud to myself, because there's like so much fear that I'm like being unreasonable and that this is just like a pipe dream, and that like no one actually is able to just like pursue their passion and make money off that and like have that be legitimate. Like, of course not, that's not how life works. But I don't know, it just feels like this has been a long time coming, and it feels like this is kind of like a now or never thing, and Caige has been super supportive, and I have like a little bit of savings saved up, and I just feel like I'm ready to take the leap. And it's really scary because I feel like the thing I should do is like stay at my current job and start this thing on the side and like make sure it's all up and running before, and like making enough money to where I can quit comfortably before I like dedicate myself fully to it. But I don't want to do that. I just want to be able to like quit and dedicate myself full time to just like launching into this and like making all my stuff and like doing everything. For the past like 2 weeks pretty much, I've just been creating inventory like a freaking madman. I've been making loads of like plushies and purses. Hold on. This is like a sneak peek of the stuff that I've been getting ready, and a couple more sneak peeks. I should like make a video proper about this kind of stuff, but I've been wanting to like make patches and collars and plushes and everything, and I'm just so scared, but I really want to do it, and I really want to just like follow my dream, and so much of me feels like it's unrealistic and it's gonna fail, and like it's not, you know, and like what all the humiliation of it if it fails, but it's just like I need to try this and I need to see if it works. And like as scary as that is, I feel like I'm ready and this is what I want to do. At least I think. I've been doing so much freaking research, you guys. Or at least I think I've been doing research. I have like my entire list of like everything I need to do, of like in terms of like looking at markets and product photography and editing and making tags and getting all my shipping supplies and like measuring everything and making sure that like the shipping cost will be like whatever. A little spreadsheet of all my stuff that I gotta do, and it's all very overwhelming but very exciting, and I really want to do it, and it feels like a lot, but it feels like right for me, and I have so many anxieties. So that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today, because as much as there's like so much excitement around this, there's also like a ton of fear, and the way I process things personally is like by talking through them. So I feel like this will just be a really rambly video of me explaining all my deep, dark insecurities and vulnerabilities around this. And I don't mean it to be like seen in this like very like guilty way of like, so you have to come buy my things because look how sad I, like that's not what I'm trying to do at all. But I'm just like, I don't know, I feel like I need to talk about this and I need to just let it out, and my boyfriend and my family have heard enough of this rambling for the past 2 weeks, so like in order to let them off the hook, let's just get into it. So I've been watching a ton of videos and like listening to a ton of podcasts explaining like small business strategies and handmade business strategies and like this and that and like things you need to look into. And one of my like really big anxieties is the fact that like my products are not like good under capitalism, if that makes sense. Like the way people talk about things that you should kind of focus on making, it's like they need to be reproducible, like not one of a kind. They need to be quick and easy to make. You need to be able to like make big quantities of them and like potentially outsource them and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, my stuff, especially like yes, there's some stuff like patches and collars and stuff like that that could be like quick and easy and reproducible. But stuff like this, which is kind of my bread and butter, is like one of a kind, kind of takes a stupid long time to make, and you only like make the one thing, so every time you make the thing you have to like take a product photo and do the editing and do that. Like you can't just like have it up and have it like be like a sticker or like a patch where it's like just the same every time. So there's like that fear. And then all of the podcasts and stuff and things that I've been listening to have just been like emphasizing like it's such hard work and no one understands like what hard work it is, and like you just have to like grind and die for this thing. And it's like, well, like I'm ready to work hard, and I think I'm a really hard worker. Like that tends to be feedback that I've gotten in the past. But also like I want to do this because it brings me joy to a certain level. Like it's not all just about like I need to be a million. Like I don't want to be a millionaire. I just want to like cover my basic expenses and like have fun making my thing, which might be an unrealistic dream. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But there's like this thing of like, yeah, it's like such hard work and like no one understands how hard work it is. And I've been trying to like keep it really realistic and like learn about what I need to learn about, but there's certain things that I'm like, I don't know what I don't know. Like I've been trying to keep track of all my expenses and like tracking my mileage and all my receipts and like keeping lists of inventory. And I know that like product photography and editing will be like really hard for me, but I'll like figure it out. And like I've been trying to think of like descriptions and this and that and like all this sort of stuff. So like I understand that it will be really hard, but I think I can do it. But it's just like the way that people talk about it sometimes makes it seem like, why would anyone like kind of go into doing their own small business thing if it's just like this horrible grindstone of a terror on yourself all the time? Because yeah, like I want to do it because it's fulfilling at the end. Like that's the thing that I guess I just wasn't really feeling fulfilled at my cafe job. And don't get me wrong, there were times that I did feel fulfilled there. but lately it's just been extremely draining. Like in the past there were times that I just like felt really like connected with customers, or really connected with the cats, or really connected with the kind of work we were doing and stuff, but lately it's just been so hard to feel those feelings that I'm just like, I gotta get out of here. Like it's just, it feels suffocating oftentimes, which is really sad to say because it's like a really cool cause and like a really cool idea, but just ugh. Okay, so yeah, hard work, but I think I can do it. But what if I'm being delusional? And what if I like get into it and I'm just like, oh, this is absolutely not for me, like I can't. Because yes, there is part of marketing that feels like extremely skeezy to me, but I'm trying to just like not think of that part of it. Just like, I don't know if it's like delusional to just be like, I'll just be myself and make my things and post them places and go to markets and hopefully it'll just work out. But in the past, like the last market I went to, I sold like almost all my plushies. And when I was doing custom doll commissions, I got lots of requests for them. So like, I think I could do it, but I'm really scared. I don't know. Then, this other thing. And I'm wondering if like other people who make handmade things also feel this. But like, the perfectionism and the not knowing what is perfectionism and what is being reasonable about like product quality when you're making things that are handmade. Because obviously I try to pay really close attention to things because I really like tiny details and I try to like pay really close attention, but I also know that sometimes I will rush things or like occasionally cut corners, and that's like totally fine when you're like just making it for yourself and you're like, well, whatever, I'm just gonna wear this when I want to wear this, so it doesn't matter. But when you're making things for someone else, then it like gets this whole thing of like, oh my gosh, what if someone is like upset that this stitch isn't absolutely perfect. So like an example of that, for instance, I got this new fabric at Fabricland to try to make patches out of, and normally I use recycled denim fabric. I was running out of jeans, and the fact that you have to like cut it open and then there's like waste scraps and sometimes you can't use all the bits and pieces made me think like, what if I just get a long piece of fabric that's like denim from like Fabricland or whatever and try to use that to make patches on. So this is the front that I did with denim, and it like looks pretty clean, pretty nice. And this is the back that I did with the other fabric. And it's like, I was worried about the paint quality kind of on it and the fact that it looks a little like sketchy in some parts. So I was like asking Caige about that. And then he instead zoned in on the fact that like the fabric on the stitching like pooches out a tiny bit. Can you see that? Like just because the stitching tension is, I guess, a little bit too tight. And I didn't even realize that when I was making it. So I'm just like, oh no, like I thought just the paint was bad, but now I know that the paint and the stitchings are bad. Like, who will want to buy this because the paint and the stitching is obviously so bad? And Caige was like, no, like don't worry, like people will still want it. And I'm like, but when you see all the tiny mistakes in your things, that you're like, what? It just makes it so anxiety inducing, and it's like, feels like, how will I ever make anything that anyone wants to sell when I'm like, what if they like get it and they're like, well, this stitch is out of place, or like this stencil like bled a little bit in this part, or like the eye isn't like perfectly indented on this plush, or like the face is a little asymmetrical on this doll. And it just like, that part is so anxiety inducing, because when I work at the cafe and someone's like unhappy with a product or whatever, it's like out of my hands, I didn't make it, didn't do anything with it. But with stuff like this, it's like, what if someone gets it and then they're like, oh, well, the stitching, look at the stitching is pooched out. So that really stresses me out. And like just being like, what is being a perfectionist and what is just being too hard on myself, or like what is being reasonable? Like I have really difficulty kind of trying to figure that out, because when I'm making things for myself, it doesn't really matter as long as I like it. I'm like, whatever. But when I'm making things for other people, it's like, if it's not exactly perfect, how dare I ask someone to buy this? So that's really scary. And then the other thing that I fear so much, and I don't know if this is just because I'm into DIY, but like a lot of times when I see something, especially like from an expensive brand that I like, instead of buying it, because I'm like, that's like $200 for a hoodie, no thank you, I'll just make something similar, which I totally endorse. And that's why I have my YouTube channel for a lot of the time, is because I love to make tutorials and show people like, this is how you can make things like your own, and like you don't have to go and like do big bucks at the big capitalist kill star dolls kill whatever it happens to be. Just make it yourself, which I think is really, really cool. But I'm so scared that like people will look at my stuff and not want to buy it because they'll be like, well, I can just make that myself, which like, yes, you totally can. But then that kind of puts my business model, quote unquote, out of commission, which is fine. Obviously, if people want to just make things themselves, I totally still encourage that. So it's hard to imagine that like people will wanna buy things that they could just make. But then I have to remember that like not everyone thinks like that, and like some people don't like making stuff, or like they don't have the time, or they, I don't know, for whatever reason, like don't want to learn the skill, or like whatever. Like I think crochet is really cool, but every time I try I have a hard time learning. So maybe someone feels that way about doll making or plushies or something that I can make. So like maybe I have to remember that, but it's also really scary, so I don't know. Then the other part that I'm like trying to hype myself up to get over is that I'm kind of a technophobe. Like I'm really bad with technology and social media and all this kind of stuff, and I know that I'll have to like really improve on that. Editing and photography scares me a lot, so I've been trying to watch a lot of tutorials and like learn about that, but it's also like super overwhelming and scary. But yeah, I'm trying to hype myself up through that one. We'll get there. But it's just a little bit scary because I am very much the type of person that will try something, and if I'm not good at it immediately I'll be like, this sucks, this isn't for me, which is a terrible quality to have, to be clear. Like I do not like that about myself. But yeah, that's why I've never been into photography, never been into like editing and stuff like that, because I'm just like not my strong suit, so I refuse. And now it's like, okay, well you can't do that anymore, you gotta learn. So luckily Caige has been super thoughtful and been open to help me with that, especially because he does really enjoy photography, so I have that, blessed me. But yeah, that is one thing that I'll have to learn, that I'm a little scared of, but we can learn things that can, like, that is a thing that is like, okay, I can reasonably get over that, I can figure it out. But like the intangible fears of like, what if people will just not want to buy my stuff because I make tutorials, and they'll be like, well, why would I get that? I can just make the tutorial, and like, why are they charging this for that? I can see in the tutorial that they obviously just made it like this, like it's clearly not worth that. That's like so scary to me, especially because when I was watching videos like explaining how to price things, it's like cost of time to make plus materials plus overhead or whatever is like the thing that you should price it as. But then there's some like absolutely wild pricing formulas that are like materials plus time times 4, which is like, where do times 4 for what? Like what do you get that from? So that's really weird. Yeah, trying to figure out that has been really scary for me, because I've been recording some of the time that it takes me to make stuff, and my god, it takes me a lot longer to make stuff than I thought. Because usually when I make things, I'm just like chilling out, like watching a movie, I'm like, you know, just like hand sewing, and like it's like a good fun time and like whatever. But when you time that and you're like, oh no, it took me 5 hours to make this purse, and I was thinking of just giving myself $10 an hour, but when I talked to my mom about that, she's like, that's not even minimum wage, like you have to charge yourself at least minimum wage, you know? And I'm like, okay, but that's like 5 hours times $15 an hour, like that's plus the shipping, like plus the material, like we are out of this world if we're asking people to pay those prices. So that's really scary, but we'll try to figure it out. In general, the pricing fear is like so scary, especially because when I posted on my little community post and was like, hey, if I opened up a little business, what would you be interested? A lot of people were like, yes, but like shipping would kind of hold me back. So I was like, okay, I will have to include shipping into the price of the product, because like when people say free shipping, it just means that shipping is included in the retail price, which is like kind of a misnomer, but like someone has to pay for the shipping at the end of the day, and like businesses, I don't know. I was thinking of just kind of eating the cost like partially, but that feels kind of scary. So when I was like looking at videos of how to price things, they were saying, look at the furthest place that it could possibly ship and just charge that as your like shipping, like include that as the retail price. But that's freaking terrifying, because I can't include like a $50 extra charge because like someone in Australia might buy it. So I was thinking of doing like a medium kind of price, so like occasionally I'll eat the cost, so like adding like $30 instead of 50, so like sometimes I'll have to pay an extra 20 and it'll just be like, well, that sucks. So I don't know, the shipping thing has really been scaring me, because I do really want to make it reasonable for everyone to get things, but shipping is so expensive in Canada. But I want to make things accessible, but I also, like, in the past when I had a Depop, I ended up having to send a lot of stuff to people and lost money, because I'd like sell a thing for $5 and pay $25 in shipping. So I was just like losing $20 and sending someone a pair of pants or whatever, which was just like really, I don't want to like repeat that. So part of me feels like I want to include the shipping price into the retail price, because I just think free shipping makes more sense. Free shipping as in shipping included in the retail price, because I personally hate when there's like really high shipping costs at the end. But yeah, it's really scary because I'm like, oh, that's gonna like stack an extra 30 bucks on something that I was originally gonna only charge $30 for. So now something like this becomes 60 or 70 or 80 or like, you know, I don't know. It's just like really freaking scary. So yeah, pricing, really scary. Shipping prices, really scary. Don't know what to do about all that, but we'll have to weigh out my products and do some calculations. And Shopify gives like shipping discounts, so like maybe that will help a little bit, because I'm planning on doing Shopify because Etsy just takes too much of a percentage, and I've done my research, and Shopify is the way to go. And there's like a big fear of like, what if I'm just wasting all my time and all my money and I'm having like all these crazy dreams and it's just gonna be like a big fat failure and a big fat flop, and like I'm just gonna open my store and everyone's gonna be like, no thanks. So that is like super terrifying, but I feel like I'm gonna do, like, this is what I want to do regardless. So like, why agonize so much over it when like you know that this is what you're gonna go for, kind of, is like one feeling. But part of it is like, I still don't know like what is evaluating things logically and being like logically like, this is, you know, a scary thing, and like don't just launch yourself into this, you know, keep your job and make sure that this is successful, and like you can't just like quit and like dedicate all your time to this. But part of it is like, this is your dream, so just like go for it fully, which is very silly. Is it? I don't know. Caige has been offering to be super supportive. I have a little bit of savings, and it's like, I'm gonna do it, so why sit here and just like agonize over it over and over? I don't know, there's like this graph that I saw on Tumblr a while ago that was like about suffering and like agonizing and like worrying and like if things go badly, and I'll put it somewhere because I can't explain it. But I was like, yeah, I need to chill about stuff, because I am an extremely anxious person, unfortunately, if you haven't been able to tell from this like probably 45-minute video of just me ranting about what if it doesn't work? What if it does? You know, that's like kind of what one has to remember. It's so scary though, because I'm so sensitive to criticism, and I don't mean to say that. It's like, I'm a sensitive little baby, tell me everything I do is perfect. But it sucks when, yeah, like I'll be really insecure about something, like I'll show Caige like a project that I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is going in the right direction, and then he'll be like, this other thing that you weren't even insecure about in the first place is also going in the wrong direction. It's like, oh no. So that's really scary. Just being like so sensitive to criticism, and that's just from me and Caige. So what do all these other potential clients and customers think, and what will they say when they notice that my stitching is uneven and I forgot to trim a piece of thread, or like whatever. Yeah, and just with how long it takes me to make certain things, I know I need to like speed up the production, but I also get really anxious when I like time myself, because then I'm like, okay, I have to like do this as quickly as possible, and like that doesn't feel good at all. I feel like I've just been, sorry, this whole video has just been complaining. To be clear, I've been having a really fun time sitting in my room for the past couple days, just like making things and creating and being creative, but I don't know, there's also so many like thoughts and feelings rambling around in my head that like, I don't know if I need reassurance necessarily, because I feel like that's a lot to ask and be like, everyone tell me that I'm gonna do great and perfect, because that might not be the case, and I need to be okay with that. In fact, I have a lot of backup plans that I've written in my Google Doc that I'm like, okay, if the shop doesn't work out, markets, and if markets don't work out, I can reach out to this person, and if this doesn't work out, then I can try that. And I never wanted YouTube to be like my full-time job. Like I always thought of it as more of a hobby, but like YouTube sponsorships are apparently a thing that I've always been like so averse to, but that could be like a way of making, sorry, this like feels so silly to be talking to audience about, but yeah, I'm so scared of people feeling like pressured to buy my things. I don't know, I just so badly want to follow my dreams and just like soar into the sunset and like have this be like super successful, but I'm just trying to like really temper my expectations, and I need to know that like if I open the shop and like no one buys anything, that's not the end of the world. Like that's what life is gonna be like sometimes, and I think I'm gonna give myself minimum 1 year to really try it out, but like I want to do this right. I've been trying really hard. Like I have my logo, I have my brand colors, I have my like fonts picked out, I have like all these things decided, and like what my business card will look like, and it's gonna be like little coffin tags and little adoption tags for the plush. Like I have things very planned out, very, I don't know, I'm trying to plan this, I'm trying to do this right, because I've had little like side hustle Etsy selling my little clay things with boyfriends and stuff before, like on my own, but it never was like I never was really like doing it seriously. It was always just kind of like, oh, I'll like throw this up and like see what happens and like if things happen. And like I had a boyfriend that we would go do markets together and stuff, but it was always really more him like organizing it, and I was always like, yeah, it's fine, like whatever. And growing up, my parents always did markets, so they have a lot of experience, and I grew up around that kind of thing a lot, so like it's not completely new territory to me. And the last one I did went really well, and if this stuff doesn't go well, I can always do doll commissions again because those were kind of successful, and I want to get into making dolls again. In fact, I have a couple. Little sneak peek, guys, for being so patient and listening to me for so long. These are some that I made like a couple years ago that I meant to put on Etsy or whatever, and I just like never did. But they're super cute. There's like this little froggy girl, and there's another little strawberry girl in here, and a little bunny, and they're super cute here. But yeah, I've been really wanting to make dolls again, but just with work, it's been too much time that's been taken up, especially because, and this is one of the biggest reasons that I want to quit, I get asked to come in so freaking often, and it's not just me, to be clear, a lot of people, but there's like just a couple of people, specifically managers, who are always calling in, and you'll see them the night before on their freaking Instagram story, like getting wasted, like having fun, like going to party, and then in the morning they'll like text you at 6 a.m. and be like, oh, can you cover my shift at 8? And you're like, oh, you suck so bad because I know that you were partying last night. And they're like, oh, I'm so sick. And you're like, I just want to leave that behind and focus my time on like making all my beautiful things and just like having a nice time here doing things. Let's have another little sneak peek. I'll make like a proper video of this stuff. But, like, this is some of the bags that I've been working on, and I don't know, I think people might like them. To be clear, these are not the ones that took me like 5 hours. That one is like huge and it has all these different patches on it, and it's like very punk and whatever. But I think maybe there's people that might want it, but it's just like so scary because, yeah, to like justify the time that it takes me to make them and to justify the cost of pricing, I feel like I will have to price things at like $50, $100, $150, $200, and it's just like, it's so scary. And I do want to have, to be clear, like really small little things under $20 range. Like I want to have patches and collars and capes and stuff that I can like justify selling for cheaper. But I feel like for dolls, when I used to sell them, it was for like $150, and then I'd spend like $30 on shipping, and then I don't know how much of that was materials. So at the end of the day, I was like taking home less than $100 on a doll that take me 3 days to make, and it's just like, I can't keep doing that because I have this very much thing of like, I just want to make everything super cheap for everyone and super accessible for everyone, and I want everyone to be happy and just to be able to like access things and like, you know, everyone happy. But unfortunately, I have learned that that is not the sustainable business way to do it. So that sucks. But I also don't want people to feel cheated, so I'm not going to be like, this is $500. Like, it's gonna be like, this is, what, $30 plus the shipping, so like $60. Like, you know, I don't want, but that also feels insane for just like a tiny little guy. So it's really stressful. Also, the shipping prices, I've like barely looked into them. This is just like my very rough estimates of like, I put a couple of things in boxes and measured them and put them on the pricing calculator, but I'll like need to get exact measure numbers for like each thing. And I've also been like keeping material costs really exact now. So I'm like, the glass beads that I buy are like $7 for a strand, and there's like 30 in a strand, so that means that they're like 35 cents per, like, so then I'm like, okay, well this doll has like 3 beads. Like, I've just been trying to be really meticulous, really on top of it, really like doing this right, but I'm just so scared that I'm wasting my time, or that I'm like having this crazy dream that like I think will work but it actually won't. But I'm also really excited, and I really want this to be my life. And yeah, I know that there's like a lot of people that do like handmade business stuff and it fails and they don't do well, and like a lot of people don't do it for long, and like I've been trying to be really realistic about it, but I've been like making little guys forever and just being creative with stuff forever. And that's my other thing that is really scary, is that a lot of the videos that I watch are like, you can't make dish towels and mugs and aprons and hairbrushes and eyeshadow, and like you have to make one thing. And I'm like, but I like making all the things. So I'm gonna try to throw everything out there and then see what sells, and if I'm like, wow, not any single person wanted to buy a purse, then okay, I won't make any more purses, and like we'll live. But in the past at my fair, like my plushes did really well, so I'm making a lot of those. My dolls have done really well in the past, so I'm planning to make a couple of those. I have a list of like the inventory that I want prepped. My plan right now is to make all the inventory, then photograph and edit all of that, and then open the website, put up the things, write the descriptions, and then like launch it, quote unquote. And I have a bunch of other like kind of little steps in between that are very important, like getting my business cards and getting my tags and getting my packaging and all the things in order. But yeah, right now I'm in the inventory prep phase, and it's been a lot of fun. I think this will be, unfortunately, like one of the funnest parts, because the rest is like a little bit like more technical, more scary, but we'll get there, we'll do it, it'll be fine. And in the meantime, I don't know, do you guys want to see the inventory updates as I go? Like, do you want to see what I've been making? Or is that like boring and like just feels like self-promotion? Because it's still like cool DIY inspo, if you want to DIY something similar. It'll also be eventually for sale, but I don't want it to feel all like sales pitchy and like, come buy my wares, because that's not what I want this channel to turn into. This is, like I said, it's supposed to be for fun, it's supposed to be for just this kind of brain dump personal decompression. Like, yes, I'll do tutorials and lookbooks and these kinds of things occasionally, but I still want to be able to just come on here and brain dump and be really honest and be really vulnerable. So yeah, I'm really sorry if this just came off as super whiny and super like, I don't know, entitled or selfish or like unreasonable. I don't know. I'm really like honestly feeling very anxious. I don't know if it's coming off right now with this whole situation and with this whole life change, because I just like so badly want it to go well, but I also want it to be like perfect. And I know that the like more logical thing to do would be like just post a couple of things and see if people buy them, and then if it goes well then like try to dedicate more time to it. But I'm like, no, it's gonna be all or not. Like, I'm gonna have everything perfect, and it's gonna be all the brand colors and the this and that. And to be clear, I'm not like spending millions of dollars on like business cards or branding. Like, I'm trying to do things extremely like conservatively in terms of money, and I'm keeping extremely close track of my business expensive. And there's like certain things that I'm like, oh, like I really want a clay machine, but it's like $36, but like I could get it with a discount for like $24. But then my mom was like, oh, I have a pasta machine, and I'm like, perfect, I don't need a clay roller thing, I can just use my mom's pasta machine. So stuff like that. We're trying to figure things around, trying to be responsible, trying to be, you know, keeping my feet in the ground, and yeah, but it's just this feels like my thing that I'm so ready for and so want to do. And just like, I don't know, the idea of being able to like, because Caige is a tattoo artist, right? And the idea of being able to like go with him to conventions and to just take time off work and like to have our October to do like our things and to like just make my things and like feel really fulfilled and like happy. And I know that like when you turn hobbies into businesses, they can like lose some of their spark, and I'm like trying really hard to not have that happen, because I'm really scared of that too. But gosh, yeah, there's like so many fears, but there's also so many possible good things. And like, as much as like for every single thing that I'm like, well, what if like this bad thing happens? You have to be like, well, what if this good thing happens instead? So trying to keep that in mind. I'm so sorry about this like really weird incoherent ramble. I don't know if I'll publish this. I guess you'll see this or you won't. We'll find out. But yeah, also, do you want like updates while I do things, or will it feel like weird and businessy? Like, oh, come along with me while I like make my, like show you my things that I'm getting ready, and like I'm not gonna do like track my spending with like, I'm not gonna do like the super technical stuff, but like the fun stuff, like do you want to see my inventory, do you want to see like how I'm organizing like my craft? Like, I think that kind of stuff could be fun, but I also don't want to put too much pressure on myself to be like, do the business and YouTube and also start an Instagram, and so it's trying to be one step at a time. Long story short, I might take a little bit of a step back from YouTube for a little time while I get this stuff situated and sorted, and things on YouTube might get a little bit more like, look at all the things I've been making that will soon be available. But that won't be forever, and I'll still do lookbooks and I'll still do tutorials, and let me know in the comments if there's other things you want to see from me, because I'm always looking for more ideas to do. It feels so weird to film again. I feel like I've been gone for so long. Oh, I also want to do perfume reviews again. Oh my gosh, I've been getting, you can't, B-Pal, new obsession. Oh my god, so freaking good. Also, House of Glory. One of you recommended it to me and I'm obsessed. So, very, very happy. Lots of exciting things in the future. Let me know what you want to see. Tell me I don't know, like, part of me wants to know if you think that this is like a bad idea and you're like, no, Rabbit, like, stay at your job, like, do, like, or get, like, an actual other job, like, that it's not a good time, it's not a good idea, don't do this. But part of me is like, I'm gonna do it anyway, so, like, don't bother telling me. But I need to stop thinking that way, perhaps. I don't know. I am... What? I'm sorry if this video is coming off as, like, just insecure and weird and up in the air, but that is kind of the state I am in right now. So, that's life sometimes. I hope your life is going well. Are you going through wild transition stuff right now like me? I have people around me that are like breaking up and getting married and leaving jobs and starting businesses, and I never thought I'd be like, I'm gonna start my own business, but here we are. That's apparently the dream now? What? Who would have thought? But I don't know. I think it's for me. I really want to quit my job also. Oh god. I just want to hand in my 2-week resignation. Every time I'm there, I'm just like, this is, and there's just been like so much stuff, so much new stuff that's stupid lately, guys. Like, I work at a cafe, right? Sometimes at a cafe, you have too much milk in your pitcher once you've done steaming the milk, so you pour it down the sink. We're not allowed to pour it down the sink anymore. We have to like walk around the back and pour it down the sink in the back, which on like a busy freaking day, Saturday, with like all the people coming in, is not feasible. So then you have to like a disgusting milk bucket that is just like getting covered with like And to be clear, I know a lot of people have worse jobs than me, and I know I have it easy. But I'm like, at this point, like, I'm making just a little bit above minimum wage. I've been about here for 5 years. Like, there's gotta be something better for me out there. I really hope there is. I'm scared. And I'm also really scared that this is coming off as arrogant. It's like, I'm so much better than a burrito. Because I'm not. That's been me forever. I'm not trying to say that at all. But yeah, I never knew what I wanted to like do with my life, and now I feel like I know. And I kind of knew in the back of my head for a really long time. I remember when I first started making dolls and I was like, I could see myself just like being a doll maker, like for you know? Things to think about, things to see, things to consider. Thank you for sticking with me with this ramble. Sorry it went on for so long, sorry it was so incoherent. Leave me your thoughts below, leave me what's new in your life below. Thanks again for listening, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Alright, bye for now, bye.